they are absolutely huge underdogs.
Yeah, and the one thing I'm looking for right off the bat from TSM is some targeting in Champion Select, because Cloud9, while Jensen has played a ton of champions and Balls has played a ton of champions, Rush and Hive both have very limited champion pools and can be easily targeted. Rush, I mean, Nidalee is a very common ban. It's almost always banned against him. But other than that, he only plays the Lee Sin and Gragas, and his Gragas is a little iffy.
No.
Yeah, I mean, High in particular only played 16 games in the regular LCS split. 9 of those were on Morgana, and he was 9-0. Aside from that, he had a mediocre record on Alistar, 1 game on Soraka, and 1 game on Braum. So there we have it. The target on the Morg ban, also a Nidalee ban. Something about Cloud9's Champion Select is they do love to early pick those smaller, more power pick-based champion pools of the jungle, the AD carry, and obviously the support.
Kalista still left up throughout this. We did see the Morgana ban coming in against Cloud9, against Liquid in that last week. It was one that took a win away from C9, so we do see that ban definitely hurting the bot lane.
Yeah, and actually with Cloud9 banning out Gragas here, it opens up yet for the last ban Lee Sin from TSM. So those are all the jungle champions I mentioned for Rush.
Whoa.
Now maybe he goes with the Kindred.
Yeah.
Now the thing is,
he's played a lot of Kindred in solo queue as well, even though he hasn't brought it out in LCS.
The thing is that it took a long time for him to work on this Kindred, because he initially, even just a few weeks ago, was talking about how he didn't really like the champion, didn't like playing it, but you have to put in the time to be good at Kindred right now. She just has such a high skill cap and so much potential that I think that they really caught TSM off guard with this one, and Rush being able to hide the practice here on his Kindred well enough, at least, to evade TSM.
Yeah, also have to add that reminder that we are on patch 6.6, so the Kalista is going to be heavily deprioritized because of the nerfs to her attack speed when she is not next to her Oathsworn. So, decent deal there. And also, Azir will make his triumphant return here to NA.
We'll see about triumphant, because Azir early picks, there are a lot of counters.
Triumphant was definitely the wrong word.
Okay there, TSM Jet, hold on.
Damn it, Kobe! No, my secret's out. But really, the interesting thing about Azir here is we've been talking about how much he's back in the meta. We were trying to figure it out. A lot of it will have to do with how many tanks are in the game and how the hard initiation and assassins that were shutting down Azir are a little bit lower right here. But this actually isn't the best time to pick him quite yet, because he's against a fairly heavy damage Kindred, and a lot of things that can reach Azir in the backline are yet to be drafted. Azir is definitely not without counters.
Yeah, very true. He does have some good moves of his own to deal with Kindred compositions. Because he can push people around, you know, that's always good against Kindred, who throws down the Lamb's Respite and tries to protect a zone. Looks like Gangplank being moused over here, actually locked in already as well. So Cloud9 going to get that for Balls, probably, considering how he single-handedly pretty much won them the game versus TSM last time around on his Gangplank. And it was actually versus Double Lift and Crew.
And was against a Poppy in that situation as well. Something about Balls this split is he's actually had a heavy gold and CS advantage at 10 minutes for a top laner, even though his damage hasn't been quite up towards the top of the charts. So we'll see how that will work, since Poppy typically wants to influence the game before Gangplank if Balls actually manages to come ahead.
Yep, Poppy's still extremely popular, and for good reason. Pretty strong lock-in here for the bottom lane as well for TSM.
Yeah, the nerf Kalista, but still got a lot of the strengths that you see in competitive, because you can always just use the Kalista-Alistar combo and get a 3-second chain knockout.
There's also a lot of variety the teams can pick here. Going into this game, this is the best of series, so they can test the waters a little bit. The Twisted Fate back in the hands of Jensen. We have seen him kind of doubling up on champions as we went throughout the split this season. 2 Twisted Fates in a row was in a week with TSM and Energy. So very much knowing how to play this against TSM in that pick.
And I do like this. Cloud9 want to play into their strengths when they're playing versus TSM. Cloud9 excel on rolling through the mid game with cross-map plays, forcing constant decisions to be made by their opponents. They trade objectives very quickly. They go for skirmishes very quickly, and they want to try and put pressure on TSM's communication. That's been one of the things where TSM in-game, you know, on stage, they have had mistakes pop up in mid-game and end-game team fights, causing them to lose these big gold leads that they've been able to earn, you know, during lane phase and during the early stages of the game.
And you say that it's something they like doing. It's something they specifically like doing against TSM. Back when they played their last game, it was a Twisted Fate and a Gangplank, and even though TSM had pulled ahead with some early team fights, the communication and the ability to initiate however and whenever they wanted ultimately allowed them to come out with a victory there.
Yeah, so both teams drafting to their strengths. TSM extremely strong team fighting here, and Cloud9 with a lot more cross-map opportunities to make.
We'll have to see if they play it much the same way they did the first time. It was Cloud9 that was able to come up with that win when they played the TF Gangplank composition. It was with the Lee Sin in the jungle and a Kalista Soraka bot lane. Still very engaging and heavily able to fight on the side of Cloud9. TSM bringing about the same thing, and a lot of times we see TSM kind of getting a 40-minute fight win that turns the game back in their favor if there's any trouble throughout the game. They have a team that can set that up.
Yeah, I really like how TSM have brought 3 separate displacement champions as well, with Poppy, Azir, and Alistar all able to try and move Cloud9 members around. We'll see how those early skirmishes play out, though, because it should be an exciting early game in a Cloud9 game. It always is.
I'm ready. This is usually our finals match. We have a quarterfinals right now.
Get started.
We're going to get the hype early. Stay connected with us on Twitter throughout the series. Keep sharing your votes by tweeting at LOL Esports with either the hashtag C9win or the hashtag TSMwin. And we'll see how you voted as we get into game. We'll tally those up and get them shown to you. It is going to be an amazing matchup off the get-go. I can't promise that right away because they may be a little lax. Nobody wants to lose first blood. But we'll see how hard they go in the beginning. The crowd is ready. The teams are ready. It's been 2 weeks off here. Teams are coming in a little cold. We'll see who did their homework.
Yeah, and Kobe, when you're talking about the team compositions, how you like how TSM has 3 different displacements, I feel like that's actually going to be very difficult for them to use specifically, because I feel like the Poppy displacement is great against tank lines and things that are kind of mobbing towards you, but this Cloud9 team is going to be attacking from a lot of different angles, whether it be the Gangplank ultimate or where the Twisted Fate comes down, not to mention the way Kindred enters teamfight. So while it will be able to be effective in the right circumstance, I think it's going to be really hard for Hanser to use that properly.
We shall see.
Yes, we shall.
A lot of what they've put in this composition as we're loading onto the Rift, we look at TSM's comp with that Kindred, is that Poppy, is that Yellow Star. We're saying it's going to be hard for these team fights to happen. A lot can just push Rush out of what he wants to make these fights go in the favor of Cloud9. Going to be very interesting and chaotic once we get to those level 6s here. We'll see how they start off the match on both sides. We are on the Rift. It is Cloud9 versus Team SoloMid in the quarterfinals, and we are in game 1.
Going to keep a very close eye on Rush's Kindred this game because, like I said, it's a champion with a very high skill cap and takes a lot of games to actually reach her peak on. With him just doing it recently, there are a lot of things you have to watch out for. Sometimes newer Kindred players will use their Q early, and after she uses her mobility, then she's in a very dangerous position for something like Elise. So you have to save that until you see a cocoon come out or something and use it to actually dodge the skill shot first.
Yeah, a lot of times people
get a little antsy.
Yeah, or without enough experience on Kindred, they'll think, oh, it's a save to devour jungler, you just want to farm out really hard. But in fact, Kindred has the potential to apply a huge amount of early pressure. And there is a little bit of a dice roll early depending on where his first spawn will be to start stacking up the Kindred passive. Usually a Scuttle Crab will be the first one for him. We'll see if Rush cycles the jungler and gets a little creepy.
Lane swap invade here from TSM on the top side. See if Balls and Rush can sneak away the Wolf camp before they're found. Yellowstar and Double If might just go for the small monsters off the blue buff. Nope, he's going to go find them.
A little late to stop this. Yeah. Both sets are actually a little late to stop it. Svenskeren got level 2. He did deny one Wolf. That's actually somewhat important.
Yeah, and you actually want to finish it off, too, because this side of the jungle becomes TSM's side of the jungle. You don't want to leave it there and counter-jungle your own jungler because you have your top side, strong side there with the
I got it! He stole the big Wolf! Svenskeren didn't save his execute damage, and I just walked in.
This is such a perfect example of the risky gameplay that Cloud9 go for, and it stems from high. He gets right in there with Braum, no fear, and steals it away.
Svenskeren's level 2. Like, a lot of times, supports have to abandon their solo invades when someone hits level 2 because the response, the proper response when high goes in there, is to kill him. Svenskeren and Hanser just put damage onto him instead of worrying about the wolves. Or you just save your execute. Svenskeren and Hanser do neither, and that's actually a pretty big experience dump for Cloud9's bottom lane.
It's really all played out beforehand. High recognizes Elise, Poppy. Not too much danger there at a level 1 going in. He just stood there toe-to-toe with him and kept hitting the wolf. Knew what he could do. Gets himself out. And Cloud9 working on the bot lane here. We'll have the same in the top. Like we said, TSM's going to be on the top side of jungle, so now we see Rush getting into that bottom side of TSM's.
So 1 small wolf stolen and 1 big wolf stolen for each team.
Almost a full camp between them.
See who holds the advantage now. We're making a big deal out of it.
Right.
Because they're doing lane swapping, the experience will equalize a little bit. Yeah. But I think what this will mean is that Rush will be a level ahead of Svenskeren in certain spikes of power during this game.
Well, they're also doing a very standard lane swap. So both top laners getting that gold. Both top laners probably going to try and push before they recall, because the AD and supports have already swapped to the other side. Try and scavenge as much of those CS as possible. Svenskeren taking away that first mark spawn from Kindred, so Rush doesn't get the lucky spawn on their lane swap side.
Yeah, and a lot of times when we see lane swaps, it's just very much you're doing a lane swap because the other team is doing so and you want to just naturally reach your power spikes. But as far as hitting your level 6 power spikes, I feel like Cloud9 will have a huge map advantage, specifically because of the lane swapping. When you kill the outer turrets and you trade them back and forth in multiple lanes, you really increase the amount of map that becomes unsafe. Double the fact that they're running 2 teleports and a Twisted Fate,
right,
when compared to TSM, who have 1 teleport and a cleanse on their mid lane, Azir. There will be a lot of playmaking opportunity for Cloud9 once level 6 is hit.
Yeah, really going to have to keep track of the deep wards, because if you let one of those get through the deep lines and the teleport turning the tides can change everything. Rush goes very aggressive here on Svenskeren.
Yeah, it looks like TSM actually wanted to match the duo going to top lane, so they don't go to push as C9 went to push this top now. Let's see if there's a dive.
Yeah, Svenskeren is up there early, but there is a big level discrepancy here. It's level 4, 4, and 3 against 2, 3, and 4.
Oh boy.
Teleport will double that number. This is going to be it.
He TPs from the brush, so Balls is in the fight now. Rush getting a good tank on. He's out now. It's on to Balls. And now Balls has to get out. Doing a great job of getting each other back and forth, but Balls can't get out in time.
Oh my.
And he goes down as well. Retribution kill coming in for Sneaky on Yellow Star. Very touch and go.
Terrible.
Was not clean whatsoever. They utilized double teleport, and TSM sticks in lanes for the most part as Bjergsen roams up. The fact that they were able to trade a 1-for-1 in a 5v3 with double TPs expended makes that an atrocious trade for Cloud9.
Again, the high-risk plays from Cloud9. They're willing to go for the early 5-man tower dive, expending both teleports. So many resources up top, and they mess up the play. Here come the double teleports.
They don't necessarily have the damage yet. First off, you don't want Rush taking turret aggro at level 4 because he's one of their main damage dealers in an early dive like this. And then they also don't have a level 6 Gangplank or a level 6 Twisted Fate, so the time when they're going to actually pull off that global play would be around level 6. Maybe they wanted to preempt it before TSM would expect it and then double it up when they hit level 6 again. But that, I think, is just going to set them pretty far back with how badly that was.
They don't have anyone who can tank the turret.
Yeah, if anything, High should have tried to do it with Braum because he can land a Q, sit on the outside, wait until the last hit would kill him, and then back away. Rush was one of the worst options, but like you said, they didn't have many ideal options.
And going into that play, Cloud9 had a significant lead. They already had a lead out of the early game. And that lead just tossed away here. So TSM very happy with that play.
Yeah.
And TSM fans as well, because they want to get to the point where they can group up for the team fights. And that definitely throws them back some momentum here. Rush going to make a move up top side, though.
Well, Jensen is level 6. He's not quite in position to combo up with this. Funny thing is they didn't even burn double his flash during that dive. There is still that, although they did burn the exhaust and flash from Yellow Star. That gank did nothing but clear ward for Rush.
Cloud9 begins to back off. We see them trying to kind of activate 6 before they're 6, and that top lane gank didn't work out too well. Here to just pretty much repair things. Jensen with the Lucidity boots first. Keep himself porting around the map. Only a 200 gold lead right now for Cloud9 at this point. Bjergsen with that cleanse in mid lane, still waiting to see what the Azir in his hands can do. It's been a while since he's been able to play that one. And we were just talking about the break, so maybe that's what he was actually getting a lot of practice on. Yellow Star is 4, but with that Kalista pickup of double lift, and Yellow Star being the one to kind of die all the time on the team, that's a lot of safety for him. Getting that Fate's Call could really be big for TSM if they want to pressure a little bit of advantage they may have now.
Yeah, it's an interesting way of looking at it. Yellow Star had the most deaths for all supports in the North American LCS, which was in stark contrast to last split with Fnatic, where he had 15 deaths across 18 games, which was by far the lowest of anyone in Europe. Having the Kalista ultimate as a get-out-of-jail-free card is incredibly crucial, especially against stuff like Twisted Fate and Gangplank, who are good at forcing plays off of the slightest misposition.
Yeah, I like this play from TSM as well. You know, after Cloud9 make the Looper up top, they're able to invade, grab that second blue spawn. Svenskeren actually going to be the one to take it away.
Cloud9's definitely slowed down
very far
here.
out there. Svenskeren doesn't want to waste some time, though.
Sharing is caring. TSM gets top side, Cloud9 gets bottom side. Still 1-1, as I was saying. C9 definitely slowing their roll after the top lane gank mishap. It's like balls just to farm up right now. They still have a lot of global map pressure that they can utilize within this Cannon Barrage ultimate. And Jensen making some plays with that Twisted Fate gate.
Yeah, I mean, the gold numbers are going to be a little bit deceiving in this game because Cloud9 have both Twisted Fate and Gangplank, so they have a lot of extra cash that's coming. And not to mention, they also went Cull on Sneaky, whereas Kalista, with the attack speed build, didn't want to get Cull after the lane swap, and Double F went straight for extra daggers rather than going with the Cull to stack up. So Cloud9 have a lot of gold from their champion kits as well as items that's going to show up on the scoreboard.
Bonus gold. And the interesting thing about Twisted Fate and Gangplank, they get inflated gold totals, but I don't necessarily think that that means the gold lies to us. I feel like they scale well enough with golden items that while they do get more gold, it's still going to be a pretty good indicator of who is ahead in the game. Gangplank a lot of times has a struggle in the laning phase.
But the thing is, it's kind of it's allocated in the champion's power overall for their kit.
It is.
And part of it is contributed by that gold. So that's kind of something that's guaranteed with the champion. And that big of a gold lead on something like a LeBlanc is a little bit more scary.
Gold lead is going to be a little bit different.
All right, now it looks like leads in each lane, 72-53 in favor of Ball, so doubling up there. Stand beside me going forward. It's actually going to be tapped onto Double Lift first.
Yeah,
Yellow Star level 5. There's that Fate's Call. Jensen behind the turret. Hai's going to take the tank. A lot of chaos in the back and forth here, but it looks like Hanser keeps the teleport coming in late.
Them are disjointed here. Cloud9 grouped up.
There it is. Can they follow up? This is Yellow Star being 5. If Double Lift goes down first, that means he's left out to dry, and that's going to be another follow-up kill for Cloud9.
Matt plays Cloud9 again. Even though they mess up the first dive, they go right back to the strengths of their composition. That's really good. They did not lose their heads after the first misplay, and they grouped up first since they both had the global teleports. They were grouped up as 5, and even though TSM tried to collapse to make use of their team comp, they're split off on 2 separate sides. Easy for Cloud9 to just charge through the turret and charge at TSM's weak side.
It's all about forcing the decision, and everyone will say, why did Hanser complete this teleport? Because I'm sure that was the call. Look at where Elise and Azir are on the minimap. They were hoping to come up and force the collapse, but it was a disjointed play. Hanser was following the call. It just was never going to work because Cloud9 was more organized. They forced TSM into a decision. The decision for TSM could have been to back away, have all 5 people dive, and then push down mid lane, but it wasn't. And the fast play of Cloud9 reaps the rewards, and now they have a 3,000 gold lead before 12 minutes.
So that's the exact strength of Cloud9 that highlighted early in the game. Let's see if TSM can make use of their strength that we highlighted. Rush actually gets caught out here. Svenskeren, that is a Kindred, though.
He's going to do what he can. Gets Poppy knocked all the way back towards the red camp. But they'll be able to grab Scuttle control. Cloud9 now placing their few wards. We'll see how long they stay. We'll keep an eye on that since they don't seem to place many, but do they just stay alive? Do they have control of that area? It seems to be the case when they get that vision. 4-1, 12 minutes in. Dragon's going to be on Cloud9's favor to start things off.
And that feels so good for Rush. He's already got the Devourer built for Kindred. Getting that immediate Dragon is a huge burst of power because you get off to those very quick stacks for your Devourer. And it all spawned from him getting caught on Kindred and nobody from TSM really having the power to finish him off. We did just see there, Jat, the front line. There is one man on the front line, which is Hai, and he got hit with the Poppy ultimate.
He
displaced.
did. He did. Although if that Poppy ultimate would have hit Rush, it would have also saved him. So I think that kind of speaks to the difficulty of using the Poppy ultimate in this matchup. but success. The front line was pushed away.
He saved Svenskeren's life with it.
I suppose. I think Svenskeren could have walked away.
Scuttled away, skittered with his legs. See where Bjergsen, he has not been able to make too many moves. I was going to say, see where he's gone, see where he's roamed. Usually it's been just on the edge of the plays Cloud9 is making. And that's because those teleports are just getting them around the map. Their way back in, grab a bit of scuttle control and start to move their wards forward. Hopefully they can open up this middle turret, then start to get a little bit of the map back.
TSM, they want to group as 5 and get a fight with their actual battle lines down, but Yellowstar gets caught out, and that's a big cooldown.
To go after high as well, to headbutt pulverize the Braum in such a deep area.
Yeah. And that's without teleport on Hongser too. They're going for that deep invade. He can't join, so it would at best be a 4 versus 4.
I think we could be seeing a fight here. They're in the barren pit, so to speak.
Teleport from Twisted Fate available. There we go.
Sneaky's left alone. But then they actually go back because Jensen's on the other side. Jensen was really the help there to give Sneaky kind of a meat shield to get out of that one, and Cloud9 just absolutely turns TSM on their head after they try to go for Rift Herald and being spotted.
The Twisted Fate and the Gangplank, as well as the coordination of Cloud9, is just adding on top of itself, and TSM is looking like they don't have an answer here. First, Yellowstar goes in for a deep ward when they don't have the teleport advantage. Then they go for Rift Herald without it as well. Oof. Now Rush is just going to bully Bjergsen, knowing there's no possible response, and get them the space needed to
I love that move as well. As soon as you go for the aggressive play on someone, mark them with the passive on Kindred. So he backs up immediately, like, oh my god, Rush is coming for my head.
We'll see this play once again. They leave Svenskeren saying, we'll get out. Svenskeren, you can get out, right? No, he cannot.
Right, and Yellowstar goes in, uses both of his defensive cooldowns as Twisted Fate comes in behind him. So really, Doublelift needs Yellowstar to be saving some of his cooldowns, so when Twisted Fate comes in on top of him, he doesn't get instantly one-shotted.
Yeah, once again, it's the skirmish power of Cloud9, the big strength for this team, and they're getting another early gold lead. Doublelift just keeps getting 100%ed as Cloud9 continue to collapse on them.
Yep.
No Kalista ultimate there to try and pull back Yellowstar and get an extra knock up there for them. And so they really did pay for that early invade that Yellowstar did in the life there.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, you saw the Rift Herald thing drop on the ground.
Snuffed out.
But you can't pick it up if you're on the enemy team.
That's right.
If TSM kill it, they're the only ones who can pick it up, even though it's sitting right there for you.
We're seeing the average leads from throughout the season there. Cloud9 averaging 1,500 gold lead. Obviously, it's much greater in this game. The Call, the Twisted Fate, the Gangplank, as well as the 7 kills have made a 6,000 gold lead by 15 minutes.
Yep.
4x their average throughout the regular season. So in full control here against TSM, very comfortable.
And you know, even without that, we see a lot of that coming from Rush, from Jensen stepping up as Doublelift tries to step up.
So these Kalista ultimates
have been a little bit underwhelming. Like, we knew Kalista was nerfed, but you need to rely on the ultimate right there. The ultimate wasn't changed.
What are the things?
They're in danger of getting caught again. Jensen has his ultimate if they want to extend this chase.
Fight hasn't really started, and TSM is already very low. If High can get a stand beside, he's up front to get a slow. There's going to be the gate. Yep. That should be a yellow card. Svenskeren will go down in this situation. The jungle is having trouble on the side of TSM to start off the series.
Just got to find the straggler at this point. TSM has not been able to stay grouped, and Jensen is having a field day. 100% kill participation, 5 kills to assist.
Yeah, an awkward overcommitment there by TSM for the turrets. You talked about when the map opens up, it even adds more advantage to Cloud9's composition, and they were easily able to use all the globals right there to collapse on that turret. And it's just an outer as well.
Put the brakes on. Steadfast presence keeps Hongser safe, but he's low on mana. He's going to have to look to go back soon if they don't want Cloud9 to gain too much more ground here. Balls has already pressed the top wave up. C9 really working well, clearing the jungle and then prepped already in the top lane.
Oh baby, the front line. Let's see
How many we got?
They got half of them out.
We got 2?
2 to the party.
But Doublelift is on the other side of the map. So delays the push, but only for a while. Maybe this turns it into a turret trade if Doublelift wants to continue to push, but now with no pop, you ultimate a 5v3.
And that's even a secondary for an
TSM's
outer.
got to kind of run a little bit.
It's the we'll wait for a mistake if they make one, but we'll give up this turret to fight at the base at this point. And that's what they're doing. They're going to give it up. Cloud9 didn't make a big enough of a mistake. Respite goes down, and it looks like they won't be able to finish off any of those kills after the heal. TSM just watches as their turrets get taken out.
Yeah. Maybe they need to start running teleport on their AD carry.
Well, that's a Season 2 strat, Kobe.
I know, it actually was hilarious.
Doublelift runs around, teleport, and AD carry. Jensen, though, with the global pressure, stuffs that push. It's in yet another turret trade for Cloud9. And this is the point of the game where Cloud9 doesn't have to take bad trades.
That turret is still standing, Jack. That's not even a trade. That's a straight up.
That's what I'm saying. They don't have to take the bad trades. They can just use some of their accumulated advantage with their teleport cooldowns and just go down there after getting the early turret.
You guys are so smart.
Well, Cloud9 are pretty smart as well, and it looks like they are going to circle up for this dragon here to keep those stacking. Rush. Let me check how many Devour stacks he has.
He's
actually
got 28.
That's going to put him over the edge.
3 Kindred marks, and he's going for his 4th right here, which is pretty good for 18 minutes.
Very good for competitive. For solo queue, you can hit some ridiculous numbers, but
13.
that's not really fair.
Oh, Balls takes it right back. This is not yours, it is mine. Question for you, junglers. I'm glad I have both of you up here. How easy is it to actually play a game with those marks on your side? To leave it up as bait, make sure you get that Kindred. Is it almost too much to worry about to kind of bait those Kindred marks?
You're talking from TSM's perspective. If the mark spawns on TSM's
Say
side,
you get a wolf, do you bait that? Is it worth it?
If you have an even game or an advantage and a mark spawns on your side, a lot of times it's decent to leave the camp up so Kindred can not get any more camps. But that's the only situation in which you leave a camp up that has a mark. You might ward a little bit ahead of it so you could use it as a bait, but that's not really something you actively think about. You're mainly just looking to win the rest of the game and deny the stacking mechanism rather than use it as a bait.
Meanwhile, TSM only have 1 secondary turret left standing here. As Cloud9 are cleaning up a ridiculous amount of global gold. Huge
ward in their jungle. You do not want to use your pulverize on high here.
That's not the first time they've done it. They will take him down, but it was quite a bit to take the support out. Bjergsen trying to move forward with soldiers, but not with bodies. Looks like TSM's going to stay.
Yeah, well, you don't want to do that. I mean, Cloud9 don't really want to take team fights, and that was a 5-on-5 there.
True.
They do make the smart choice, though, and just sacrifice High's life. Like, you know what? We'll sacrifice that Braum. That's fine. We'll keep Balls pressing top. We'll hold on to his teleport, and we'll just take the dragon instead. So High moves up. He's the sacrifice. And
shield that Alistar.
They actually got a decent amount of cooldown trades there as far as ultimate goes, because once again, the ultimate from Kalista is down. And every time that's happened, Cloud9 have punished Doublelift for it.
When I saw the Alistar go as a pulverize on the tank and the Gangplank ultimate go down, like I thought Cloud9 was turning a fight, and I was waiting for the Twisted Fate to come
They
to the
very well
backside.
could make the call since they have so much gold to fight with. You know, you can fight 5-on-5s into a stronger team fighting composition if you have 8,000 extra gold to work with and items. You know, they can make the call to go for that teleport. But
well, they got just around that, plus extra gold in their pocket.
Getting the kill. Not bad, because they weren't going to be able to contest the dragon anyway. So that was a successful pulverize by Yellowstar, for sure.
This guy on your screen right here, 107 to 72, power farming along with 6 assists. Rush has just been through every lane this game, helping everybody get better. And as he said coming into this split, you know, I kind of wanted to do my own thing. I'd take my own direction. And he
another
learned
teleport.
to take direction and calls this season. It's been working great for Cloud9. So is his kill.
Yeah, I mean, no outer turret, no war control.
It's the same story.
There's not much Hans is going to be able to do there, but there's also not many other places he could have been on the map to get farmed.
The other thing about Cloud9 that we should highlight is how well they finish games off. In the North American LCS, a lot of teams have difficulty ending games when they get early gold leads. But Cloud9, they play so well into this cross-map style, and they've been able to finish those games off after accruing these huge early gold leads. They can continue to pressure both top and bottom at the same time. They can even start setting up the pink wards and vision control of Baron area.
Yeah. Not too many, though.
Not too many.
Not too many.
They don't place too many.
Gotta keep
There's one, though. Look at that.
Gotta keep that ward
Sneaky's got one,
count
the AD carry.
I mean, a lot of those world stats could simply just come down to there's no Sightstone on Rush, but there is a Sightstone on Svenskeren.
Well, there also are the added factors of Cloud9 have early leads so often. They can defend the pink wards they have, but Balls gets caught out now. Here comes Rush.
The Cocoon. Orange, it's okay. Oh, of course you're going to try to 2v1.
Ooh.
There's the Cannon Barrage coming in. And that's going to be the extended fight. Rush versus double lift. He's forced to flash and heal out of this. Lamp the spike goes down. That's a double kill for Rush. That's what they wanted, this composition to get him out of the ult, but is it too little? Too late. Bjergsen falls as well. And now Yellow Star is going to be the next beef. He goes down, and that is almost the ace. Haunter's on the other side of the map trying to add pressure, but it's Baron for C9.
That's definitely going to be Baron, and I am now confident saying I've been convinced of Rush's Kindred. Even though he had such a very strong early game start, with the team playing really well, that right there was extreme confidence on Kindred, going very aggressive and earning that advantage for the team. Everybody collapsing as well. Balls turns around with the Gangplank ultimate to add that slow, and then Jensen comes in with Twisted Fate. Pretty much everybody here for Cloud9.
Is this not the perfect fight that Cloud9 looks for? Stragglers and
it's
continue.
A chaotic fight. TSM overextends with the gold disadvantage. Hotzer is going to cancel the teleport because at this point they think the fight is lost. And I love the timing of Rush's ultimate right there, even though he got pushed out of it and eventually died. As soon as he saw trouble after flashing forward aggressively, safety switch. He throws down with the ultimate right there, and the rest of TSM had no chance against the collapse of Cloud9.
Those fights do not make it any easier on TSM side to want to take engages, to kind of want to make something happen. It really makes you sit back, wait for a mistake, and now it's really Cloud9's game to lose. Very much in the driver's seat here.
Good dodge, though.
3 now onto Balls. Looks like this one may finalize him.
Dodge 1.
The Cloud9 is on the mid lane turret.
But the thing is,
it's a distraction.
An overcommitment there from TSM. I mean, everybody goes down bottom for Balls, and obviously the inhibitor is left exposed. Let's see if they get it or if they run.
They don't want to get caught in the base in a 5v4 situation.
It could be high. Sacrificial Lamb once again.
Don't always get what you want.
Ooh, Sneaky with a very nice, relentless pursuit to get himself into safety. And they're going to continue. Rush now going in. There's no turret. That's going to be a double kill for Sneaky. Looking for the triple kill coming in onto Haunter. He was in the other side of the map, and when he does come to the party, he's kicked right out.
Cloud9 starting this series off on a very, very quick pace here. We expected high tempo from them, and it looks like TSM just cannot keep up.
Yeah, their average game time in the regular season was 33 minutes and 18 seconds. This game's going to end much more quickly for them, and they are picking up right where they left off.
Jad, you said it before. The Twisted Fate, the Gangplank composition, it was back in week 6 when they took out TSM with it. They're going to do it again, 18-5, 25 minutes in. Cloud9 takes game 1 of the series.
Yeah, and if we hadn't been paying attention to the conversation amongst the teams, talking about how good TSM has been in scrims, that say this series was going to be pretty close, if we just looked at this game and the LCS 2 weeks ago, it's exactly what we would have expected. Cloud9 ended the split pretty well.
Yeah.
TSM ended it on a 3-game losing streak, losing 4 out of 5. And that's exactly how you think a team stumbling into the playoffs would perform against one of the playoff favorites.
And now we have to look forward in this series. This is a best of 5, so there still is time for TSM.